challenge, and we have Diego Lopes taking on Lord Jean Silva. So Diego Lopes is 30. He is 180 centimeters tall and 184 centimeters in reach, compared to Jean Silva, who is 28, 2 years younger. He is 170 centimeters tall, so 10 centimeters shorter, and 175 centimeters in reach, so 9 centimeters shorter in reach. So Diego Lopes has had a very, Jean Silva has had a very good rise, beating Kevin Vallejos, then Weston Wilson knocking him out, knocking out Charles Jourdain, stopping Drew Dober in round 3, knocking out Melzik Bagdasarian, and then choking out Bryce Mitchell in round 2 of their fight. He is on a tear. Let's take a look at Diego Lopes. Comes in on short notice and fights Movsar Evloev, then triangle chokes Gavin Tucker, knocks out Pat Sabatini, knocks out Sadiq Youssef, beats up Dan Ige for a 3-round decision, beats up Brian Ortega for a 3-round decision win, and then loses to Alexander Volkanovski. So what are these guys good at? Well, Jean Silva has very slick striking and just like also very slick grappling. He's able to ninja choke Bryce Mitchell. He's able to outstrike good strikers like Melzik Bagdasarian, Charles Jourdain. Weston Wilson, not a good striker, but he outstruck him too. Jean Silva, like a lot of the fighting nerds, has really good striking. Like you can take a look at Kofi, who just got knocked out or beaten up by what's the guy's name? Benoit Saint Denis. You can look at Carlos Prates, who just got beaten up by Ian Gary, but then he was able to outstrike Jeff Neal. You can look at Caio Borralho, who was outstruck by Nasruddin Imavov. But striking is their main thing, and that's the same with John Silva. All of those guys have really good striking. Diego Lopes, he's great on the ground. He's able to triangle choke Gavin Tucker, grapple on the ground Pat Sabatini, grapple on the ground with Dan Ige, grapple on the ground with Brian Ortega. But he's also able to outstrike all of these guys too. He's really good on the ground with Movsar. So he had Movsar in some really tough submissions. So let's just be honest here. Diego Lopes has a way better ground game than John Silva. Sure, John Silva was able to ninja choke Bryce Mitchell, which is basically just a power guillotine. But where is he actually out grappling these guys? On the feet, John Silva is way slicker than Diego Lopes. Diego Lopes does not move his head that much off the center line, and he actually is pretty bad at defending himself. His main defense is a good offense. He got hit with some big shots against Volkanovski. That being said, Diego Lopes has a really good chin, and does Jean Silva have the knockout power to actually be able to finish him? Let's take a look one more time at Diego Lopes' record. He fought Dan Ige, super hard hitter. Brian Ortega, very slick striking, even though he's not looked great lately. Still very good striking. Alexander Volkanovski, he fought Diego Lopes. He was getting pretty hit up by Diego Lopes' striking. Movsar Evloev dropped Arnold Allen in their fight. Pretty good striking. He had such good striking, he was able to knock out Pat Sabatini, knock out Sadiq Youssef. He's been in with some of the heaviest hitters at featherweight. Dan Ige has a lot of knockouts on his record, and he's come out the other side pretty much the same, if not better. John Silva, on the other hand, has not fought very good competition. Arguably the best person he's fought has been Drew Dober, who is a barely ranked lightweight and got a doctor's stoppage on him, didn't even knock him out. He did knock out Melzik Bagdasarian, wasn't able to knock out Bryce Mitchell. He was landing some good shots on him, and he did knock out Charles Jourdain and Weston Wilson. These guys are not that good. They are not ranked at featherweight, while Diego Lopes is fighting some of the highest competition at featherweight and looking pretty decent doing it. And that's going to bring me to my prediction. I think Diego Lopes is going to win this one. John Silva messes around a lot in fights. He likes to showboat. He likes to do flashy techniques. He likes to land a big shot, then smile, laugh, dab up his opponent, and then continue on. That's not going to be a good mentality. That's not going to be a great style of fighting against someone like Diego Lopes, who does throw with reckless abandon on the feet, but he has good fundamentals. He has a good jab. He has a good right straight, has great uppercuts, and he has a lights out grappling game with a massive advantage on the ground against John Silva. So I think that we're going to see John Silva probably get finished in this fight, probably by a second round TKO where he might get dropped by Diego Lopes and then ground and pounded out on the ground. That being said, I can see a scenario where he defends all of Diego Lopez's takedowns and is able to outstrike and really hurt Diego Lopes on the feet. I just don't see a scenario where he outlasts him for 25 minutes. Diego Lopes is really tough. He went toe-to-toe with one of the best strikers of all time in Alexander Volkanovski and battered Volkanovski up in that fight. Even though he had a rough couple of rounds, he came back. We know Diego Lopez's cardio is proven. We know his chin is proven. We know his power carries. And we know that even at the top of the division, guys like Volkanovski and Dan Ige, who have some great grappling, and Brian Ortega, don't want to wrestle with Diego Lopes on the ground. And because of that provenness and because of that skill advantage on the ground, I'm going with the slightly worse and less slick and flashy striker in Diego Lopes to get the job done. And the odds disagree with me, but then again, the odds disagreed with me last week when we had a fighting nerd who was the favorite lose, and in the co-main there was another fighting nerd who was a favorite lose. So I think this is a really close fight. I'm going with the underdog. I think he's going to win regardless of the odds, and let's see if this pays off. Let me know your thoughts down below, and everyone, enjoy the fights.